everybody. Welcome to the Sharon and Joe Show. My name is Sharon.
Actually, I'm going to interrupt you guys. So this is the first welcome to the Joe and Sharon Show. This is the midweek check-in with Joe and...
Oh, Sharon.
Yes.
You got a new show idea.
Yes, the midweek check-in with Joe and Sharon. And this is our first one. And why do you think we're doing the midweek check-in?
Well, right off the bat, I have to say we're checking that you're still alive.
I am still alive.
What day is it today, Joe?
Well, it's hump day today. You guys will be listening to it Thursday morning. But we're doing it, if you guys listened to Monday's video, we had our children, but Sharon's kids, to be more specific, were having a surprise visit from their friends up north. They had no idea, and they were coming Monday evening, and your youngest was just... It was a joy to see him.
He didn't know.
Yeah, he had no idea.
We've been keeping the secret for him for a while, and he struggled a little bit. He's been struggling since we moved, and to have his friends come out, it was amazing, and they surprised him. So they came over to the house, and they walked upstairs to his room and knocked on the door, and when he said come in, his friends came in. So it was super exciting. And this is videotaped.
Yeah, it was videotaped too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the smile on his kid's face and seeing him up at 8:30 in the morning, actually, ready to go to the zoo with his friends, it's a whole different kid that I've known for the last 7 months. He's a good kid. Both him and his sister are they're great kids. They're good kids. And to know that, he's with his friends again and stuff is just really cool. But like my oldest one has struggled. He's not living here anymore.
Yeah, our youngest and oldest.
Yeah, he's technically an adult, but he's still my kid. So and the younger one is struggling. But to see their friends come up and just see his personality shine has just been awesome.
Maybe we can do a future episode about that.
Yeah,
let's kids, just because the thing. And speaking of real, I have something else I want to mention to you. I'll just say this quickly. Joe and I want to talk about a few different things, particularly related to him and the reality of where he is in the recovery and just what's going on with us, all types of things like that, because we want to keep it real. So, Joe, why don't we discuss why we even thought you might be dead?
Well, I mean... I tend to be anal retentive with the house, and I'm very, very organized.
See, you've been on the channel for a year, and I don't think people know this about you. We need to learn more about you, Joe.
Okay.
So, Joe is what I would consider, OCD about the house. It has to be perfect at all times, no matter what's going on. So it's like midnight. He goes to the bathroom and notices something. He's going to clean it right then.
I've always been like that, you guys. It's part of my survival tactics. I remember when I was little, God bless my mother, who was a narcissist and alcoholic, but there's a lot of things she did teach me, was organization. She always told me is the key to success, and she talked to me about education and how she got out of the ghetto by getting a good education. So that organization and cleanliness, it's just, the drill sergeants would love me if I was ever in the military. And my youngest is actually thinking about going into the military. And I said, you'll see. You're going to get there. And, they're going around with baseboards with toothbrushes, so I don't want to hear it.
Well, the thing about Joe is that when I first moved in with him, he was like a bachelor, basically, living with some teen boys. So I didn't expect the house to be magazine ready, but it was. It looks great. I'm kind of joking around with you guys, but the house always looks amazing. So to have all these teens here and they have their stuff all over the floor, they're everywhere. We're stepping over kids to go to the bathroom. Joe's been good. That's a tough thing for you.
Yeah, I saw some empty cups on the counter. I was like, hey, you want me to wash these for you or this or that? But They're very good kids, very well raised and just polite. So, and this is for our children. It's just to see the surprise and the joy in their eyes is just worth everything.
But it is a sacrifice for you.
A little bit, and I'll tell you what, you guys, this is sparking, and let's go down this path a little bit.
What started this whole thing?
Yeah, with the comment that I got.
Yep, Joe got a comment. I guess it would have been Monday night, and in the comment, somebody wanted, and thank you, by the way, whoever you are that commented. This started this whole thing
great question
today. It was. Joe mentioned in Monday's video that he, as part of his recovery, he likes to dig deep and really learn about himself, what makes him tick. And the viewer, I think, and this made us think about how we are on the channel, I think they believe that Joe was through it because they wanted to know what he learned. Basically,
Well, how did I get over it?
Yeah.
And this and that. And I just kind of chuckled because, to be honest with you guys, I'm not over it yet.
We had questioned. I said to Joe when I first got the comment, do you want me to just reply, I'll talk to Joe, thanks, or should I tell him the truth? And Joe was like, no, tell him.
Yeah, tell him the truth. And the truth of the matter is, you guys, I still struggle.
Yeah.
Everything is not peaches and cream, but it's a hell of a lot better than it used to be. I was in a really dark place over the wintertime, and all I could do is hang on and keep breathing. The CPTSD and the symptoms of that were just, hypervigilant is like an understatement. So just to go out to that listener, maybe, in a few months or whenever the time is ready where I could say I actually got past it, because I'm not even like where I used to be 2 years ago, let alone like a better version of myself. I'm still doing that. Sunday, you guys, the day before all these kids were going to come over, I got a call from my manager. We're very close. I know her family. And she said, hey, Joe, I want to give you a heads up. Start dusting off your resume. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically, I sell property and casualty insurance, it's home and auto. It's a fancy way of saying that. And I work for an agency, and the agency isn't doing all that great. So while we were talking, I heard God in the conversation more or less telling me, hey, buddy, it's going to be time for some changes. I don't want to pull the rug underneath your feet, but you got to start getting busy and gearing towards the future. I was okay, and then Sunday night hit, and I didn't get to sleep till 3 o'clock in the morning. I wake up Monday morning, terror, bewilderment, frustration, despair. A bunch of teenagers going to be in the house, and it's how am I going to pay my mortgage, my utilities, the attorney bill? And all this fear crept in. So that, dealing with the teenagers in the house, I was doing pretty good, but I had like an emotional meltdown yesterday. I wanted to help Sharon with the grill and this stuff. Forget the chickens in the background, you guys. We're in the garage. If you guys listen, we got the chickens here. And I had cut my fingers pretty badly over the weekend. I do landscaping on the weekends to make some extra cash. I was trying to help her, and I was getting like my hand, I was worried about it getting infected, and I just went outside.
It was just one too many things.
Yeah, the laundry room's flooding or and it was it was tough. But Sharon reminded me, like, I'm so used to being alone. Even when the narcissist was here, I knew that there was no way, shape, or form that if I fell down, like the family was done. And having that pressure and responsibility, Sharon
it's
had
lingered here.
Yeah, Sharon had to remind me, hey, buddy, I love you. I've been through it. I'm going through it too, and open up and talk,
Yeah, and that actually reminds me, just when you said that, about what else do we realize about narcissistic relationships? Because being in not a narcissistic relationship, an after narcissism relationship.
Post-narcissistic relationship with somebody else.
Exactly. Like because Joe and I, we want to talk a little bit about our relationship as well, even though we seem perfect and wonderful in every way.
It's not like that.
It is, right?
Yeah, I mean, we keep it real for sure, and we try to have a positive.
And we do have a great relationship.
We do.
I'm not trying to say
we're best
don't.
friends.
Yeah.
But it's life on life's terms, and it's accepting that. Like, I might lose my job. I got to work 2 jobs. Sharon has a PhD, and she's just working somewhere part-time for right now until she gets her bearings. And at nighttime, we do deliveries. Like, it's tough, man.
It's a struggle. I guess the thing is, just like Joe doesn't want to give the impression that the two of us have recovered differently, and that's part of
why we do this channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Like why we do the show.
Yeah.
Obviously we're different genders, but also
you're gonna fall somewhere between us.
Yeah, Sharon's like positive and optimistic, and like she's just there. I'm naturally like I tend to drift into myself too much, and I get self-loathing. It's just self-pity, self-condemnation, and I got to work my ass off. So part of reaching out to a broader spectrum is different gender and also different recovery paths. The spiritual awakening that happens, it will happen. It will manifest if you work for it. It's just been 2 different kind of ends of the spectrum for us.
Yeah. So you definitely are going to fall somewhere in between.
Part of the midweek check-in is too, like, so you guys know, hey, listen, I might be losing my job. Like, I want to tell you guys that because I'm scared. And in a week or 2 from now, I don't want there to not be a Sharon and Joe show, because Joe went off the deep end and is just totally isolating and drifting back into his self-loathing. Like, I want to try to practice as best I can what I preach, and the suggestions I give, I want to be able to take those
So
suggestions
you'll
too.
be accountable.
Yeah, so
We'll check in with you and make sure.
yeah,
I like that.
I think God, in a way, like it was good that I had people in the house when I got this news, and it's good that I could tell you guys what's going on. So we'll see. I'm taking positive steps. I'm staying positive. I took 3 days off of work this week, but I'm actually working landscaping, making money. But I got a couple weeks of vacation that I have to use up before I get laid off. So to that person who left that comment, God bless you, man. Thank you. It's not so much what I learned, it's what I had to unlearn from decades of codependency and my own childhood trauma. The one thing I know is that God did for me what I couldn't do for myself. And the other thing is that Joe doesn't always know what's best for him. As far as like doing that shadow work, we do have videos on that. We'll discuss that in the future.
You're still very much in the recovery phase.
Yeah, I'm at the tail end of this divorce
Yeah.
that's been going on for 2 years. It's been 2 years of no contact with the narcissist. The first year, like Sharon and I never met. Like I went through this stuff alone with
Well,
God.
that was one thing I wanted to mention too. When it comes to our relationship, I don't want people to think that we finished our relationships or entanglements with the narcissist one day, and now, like the next day, we had love at first sight, and we're just happily skipping into a rainbow or something.
Or that we're still codependent and very sick,
Yeah.
and we just couldn't find that self-worth and self-esteem,
Yeah,
so we had to hook up with somebody else. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. That didn't happen with us.
Yeah, we each went through our own hell, man. Sharon,
we got to a certain point of recovery before we got involved.
and it wasn't
with
even
each other.
intentional. It was
No.
like it was kind of God driven, and I think we shared that story. But so it's it's a choice now. Today, I've been given a choice to look at things positively instead of negatively. Before, I didn't think I had a choice, you guys. To be honest with you, in the wintertime, it was hang on for dear life. Every day was Groundhog's Day. The hypervigilance is an understatement. There's a couple things I use today to help myself. Basically, if I could remember, when I get scared about how am I going to pay the mortgage or the bills, it's like I ask myself, do I have everything that I need today? That's it, because I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow. And all the time is yes, Joe, you do. And your kids do, and your family does. You have food, clothing, and shelter, and an abundance. It depends if I have my eyes open or not.
Yeah.
Another thing I try to ask myself is it a catastrophe or is it an inconvenience? Thank God 99.999% of the time it's an inconvenience, because I tend to catastrophize.
Well, the thing is, for both of us, Joe and I are both people that have goals for ourselves, how we're going to be, our conduct, that type of thing. And, part of like being real here with you is, it's a work in progress. So Joe, you're so much more positive now because he's working on that. That's my point. He's working on being positive, because for him, it doesn't come natural to be positive.
No, I'm a recovered alcoholic and an addict. So I have the sobriety part down as far as not picking up a drink or running away from myself. It's the emotional sobriety,
Yeah.
the maturity of how do I handle this? And usually it has to do with turning it over to God.
Yes.
Like what happens a lot is the quote unquote head of the household, I put all these pressures on myself and on my shoulders. I'm not supposed to do that.
You
man.
also don't mention it until after you've broken. So the's no, like, I can't
There's
help
no
you,
warning
or you
sign or
can't,
anything like that.
put the brakes on it. Just all of a sudden.
What I find is when I'm like falling short of my relationship with God, instead of giving Him that burden, I take it upon myself, and I'm not God. I have many fallacies and shortcomings, and that's why I become afraid, is I'm losing that faith. Plus, Sharon lovingly, God bless you, reminded me yesterday, like, I've been alone for a long, long, long time, even when the narcissist was here. And I forget sometimes, like, God brought us together so that I don't have to be alone, because if anybody's going to get it, it's Sharon.
Yeah.
And I can't I can't lie to myself like, well, you don't. Yeah, of course you get it.
Joe and I have both been through hell separately, but now together. Like, I do think my recovery is a little further along, but like part of that whole process is getting yourself feeling better emotionally. So I think I'm a little bit further along
absolutely.
than you.
Yeah.
But you're coming along too, and you we have this attitude, right? We're going to try to be positive, and we work on that. It comes a little easier for me, but you do that too, and that's part of this whole thing. we're positive and chipper on the show, that doesn't mean that we never have a problem, or that, like, especially Joe is like suffering silently.
Yeah, it's just, it boils down to accepting life on life's terms.
Yeah.
When I first got sober, I had a good friend of mine, my mentor, told me, you see this room with all these people in it, Joe? If you put your problems in a box and everybody mix and match and you got a different box back and you open it up and read those problems, you would want your box back immediately.
Yeah, I think that's true for all of us, right? We tend to feel that our own life is so sad.
Oh, it was tough
just,
today, man.
Yeah.
I tend to judge my insides by other people's outsides. Today I was at a job, I was landscaping, there's this nice house, man, and I was just like, that F&B, like, I had it, man. I was there, and it was like trying to move past that. And then when the kids' friends came up and visited, they had mentioned to Sharon in a loving way. They didn't know, like, yeah, we've seen your ex at Applebee's a couple of times with his friends, and he's having garage sales, and it just tweaked Sharon the wrong way. And when she shared that with me, I was like, I got out of myself, and I was just like, man, I'm sorry, that sucks.
Yeah, that was a rough one, you guys. Do you think it's better to hold on to that?
Listen, we got a couple topics we wanted to talk about coming up in the future. One was that, because I heard some crap about my ex too. She's dilly-dallying around with her girlfriend at bars. Well, my son needs braces, and she is stolen from me. Still, this year has managed to swindle that out, and I just want to, oh my God. So we were thinking about, a good topic might be like when you're no contact, you've been for a while, and you hear certain things, rumors, gossips, truth, whatever about your ex, how not to let it fester and you harbor a resentment, and then a resentment rots the container it sits in. It hurts us.
You said that to me last night. Do you remember? You said we want to be really careful that you don't have a resentment about this, and we'll talk about that in the video, because I'm not too great about it right now.
Yeah, and then Sharon's thinking about switching things up because he's just a deadbeat and it's not paying child support and this and that.
Guys, Joe mentioned earlier in the video that he was doing side jobs. Both of us are, but he also has a full-time job. I work part-time, so he's working like full-time and a half. And I don't even know if I can even say more than that, because it's like both weekend days, and it's not uncommon for it to be during the week at all. Part of the reason that he does that is to feed my 2 kids. My ex literally I know, like, you don't want to have your pats on your back, but it's true. That's what you do.
There are children. There was a commitment I made. The thing that stinks is that this bumbling buffoon, he's not doing anything. And Sharon took the approach, it's like 7 months ago. Listen, I just want to get away from this fool. Yeah. She didn't think it's just get me away, and whatever I could get. Thinking, okay, it's going to be cool. He's going to pay child support and everything was going to be good. Well, he's not. So she's thinking about switching up tactics.
Yeah.
So there's a couple topics that we were going to bring to the table. Maybe Sharon, you could talk about switching up tactics, what you have to do. Another one, like I mentioned, is hearing about the narcissist, the ex-narcissist,
and then
after.
Maybe like our kids.
Yeah, my oldest, who moved out. I love him so much, but he reminds me of me. And I mentioned to you guys I was an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic and an addict, and I just see myself in him, and it just breaks my heart. And then Sharon's youngest one is just struggling. I mean, he's a teenage boy that escaped from his own home.
Victim.
Yeah, he escaped from his own home. He's just a little boy. I didn't start growing up until I was 25 years old. I'm still emotionally probably frickin' his age.
My son is a very mature teenager.
But he's a kid too.
I was going to say he also, and this I can't stand, and maybe some of your moms can relate to this who are in a similar situation to me. My son has been the man of the house, and he's very protective of me. So being here with Joe, I think initially he was kind of like, who is this guy? Is he going to hurt us? Is something going to happen? But he feels more comfortable there. And as he's gotten more comfortable, he's kind of let his guard down a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
And he isolates in his room a lot. He spends a lot of time alone.
He does, you guys. So we wanted to talk about maybe a little bit how I try to, I guess there's a saying, let go or get dragged.
Yes.
And how I need to just pray for my oldest one. My youngest one's doing okay. He's still been affected too. And some ideas we were thinking about for the youngest, I was telling the smile on his face, I see him, I see his personality, who he is. like
it was actually sad at one point because I was showing you a picture and I didn't say this to you, but I was thinking to myself at the time, look, like
this is who he is.
This is what it looks like.
Yeah, I remember. I get it too. Like the kids don't realize this, but Sharon's childhood and mine were screwed up, and they were real bad, guys. But to get to the point, I had mentioned to Sharon, like, listen, when his friends go, he's going to go back to what he was doing.
Yes.
And he's a 16-year-old kid in a whole different state. He's not going to go door knocking and, hey, do you want to play with me or this and that? There's questions about homeschooling versus going to public school. There's just things that we could use advice on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And suggestions. But,
I think we all have gone through that with our kids. And Joe, like, not that I'm trying to be a broken record here, but, this is part of keeping it real. Like, this is our kid. 2 of our kids are struggling. The other 2 seem to be doing great. But who knows, what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, in the future, if it comes out or something happens. And it's like, so, we live life on life's terms to the best of our ability. I do this partly in a selfish way. And partly I do it to hold myself accountable. You guys know now, okay, Joe might not have a job. Let's see if Joe's Joe.
If you'll know if I start doing a bunch of episodes just by myself,
Joe ain't doing too good.
That's not a good sign for Joe.
Yeah, so I always give suggestions. I don't ever preach, but I'm doing it so that you guys can help me.
Yeah.
And again, I'm doing it because if I could get through this alive and on my way to becoming a better version of myself, I promise you anyone can, because
Joe and I were unlikely to leave our narcissist.
Yeah, it was a miracle. I mean,
for both of us.
But it just hang on. I always say don't quit until the miracle happens. If we could do it, anybody can. So that's another reason. If I could help just maybe one person, if not, I'm still helping myself, but
so much with narcissism is similar. Like, every person can understand it. Like Joe and I, like I said, we joke, about how we could never date a quote unquote real person.
A normal, like, Earth person.
Yeah, we would sound crazy.
We would be the ones giving the red flags to them.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Well, she cheated on you. She stole how much money? And how many treatment centers has she been in?
I thought that about you, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, because I gave you the so Sharon,
Yeah.
like Sharon's talking about the silent treatment. First off, if I was a normal person, I'm like, what the hell's the silent treatment?
Yeah, if I'm telling him that my ex gave me the silent treatment.
What the hell's silent treatment? And then not only that, but she told me that, and I was like, oh, okay, how long? I think in like a week or 2, 7 months. And like alarm bells started going in my head, like, what the hell's wrong with her? And then I was like, well, wait a minute, dude. Like, you spent 20 years with this wacko sociopath addict, so it's like,
and that's part of the recovery too, like recognizing who you are, because it's not that, because so many times I never consider myself a victim. I'm not a victim. And then Joe said to me one time, what was your role in the end of your entanglement? And I was so offended. My role? What is my role? I didn't do anything wrong. It was my ex. And I think because our exes or our current, whoever the narcissist is,
they're extremely
messed up. Yeah. Like, you seem like an angel compared to them.
And it's not even an angel, but truly, like, I ignored red flags. I had low self-worth, low self-esteem. I didn't trust God. I didn't think I could do it. Of course, there was other reasons, like my 2 boys, I was going to let them with. But if I was truly, like, butt naked honest, like, it was many things, and a lot of them not too, like, courageous.
Maybe we should talk about that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
episode, like the things we learned
about
ourselves with the narcissist, now that it's over.
We tried.
How can we be in this relationship
in the first place and undergo abuse for 20 years?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't what the hell's wrong with me?
Yeah.
We did one, like, it was kind of controversial how narcissists and empaths, like, we have similar traits.
Yes.
It could have offended people, but what we tried to say is, screw the narcissist, that's obvious. How about me? Where was I delusional?
Yeah.
Where was I in denial? Where was I just not totally conscious myself and learning about codependency and all that? I can't change anything, let alone a narcissist. I think as human beings, we're permitted to influence at best. But there was many defects that I had about my own character. With God's help, I could concentrate on that, so I didn't wind up getting in another codependent relationship, or even worse, finding a narcissist in the crosshairs.
Yes, that's exactly, that can be a huge problem for people, as you go through the recovery, making sure that you have to look at yourself.
You have to.
And it's not bad.
No, it's scary sometimes. It's like unconsciously we procrastinate, but it wasn't until I started looking at what was wrong with Joe and saying, wow, I'm pretty screwed up, but with God's help, maybe I could change slowly and a little bit. And that's where the recovery and
That's a pivotal point in the recovery.
yeah, I started learning about CPTSD. I wish I could say, hey, this is how I got over it. I do yoga every day, but I don't have the patience to do that because I'm high strung. But there are certain things we could talk about in the future. So for the person that wrote us, thank you. I think maybe in a few months or a year or however long it takes, we'll be able to.
You're making strides in your recovery.
Yeah, we'll be able to have some big blocks behind us to be like, okay, this is how I did it.
But since we're kind of having this informal chit-chat, and I will end after this, think about those ideas that Joe and I threw out there. Did they sound good for future videos? Do you want us to tell you about our sons? We'll obviously keep things private, but, it's a real thing that we're dealing with.
Yeah, it is. Or hearing about the ex-narcissists, how they're having,
how they're having
they're living
fun.
their life.
Well,
and this and
Joe
that.
and I are both, between the two of us, we have 5 jobs. That's what it takes. We've been financially devastated. And we can talk about that. Joe and I are open. There's nothing I won't talk about. Joe, what about you?
No, I'm an open book for the most part, except for names and things like that, But yeah, it was
when it
whatever.
comes to us, our role, we're really open. So tell us, what do you want to know? So the videos we brought up, other ones, and Joe, will you join us this weekend?
Yes, for the Sharon
Mondays.
Yeah.
And future checking in with Joe?
Yeah. What do you call that? What the hell did I call that?
The
MidWeek Check-In.
Yeah,
the MidWeek Check-In with Joe and
mental
Sharon.
health check-in with Joe.
So that was kind of cool. Maybe once a month or something like that. But
we'll hold Joe accountable. I've done that on the channel for myself. And, when you know that somebody's listening to what you're saying, you don't want to be an idiot and, all of a sudden Joe's not on the show anymore because he's in a depression.
Yeah, and if you guys are out there, I don't ever pray for myself. My prayers are for other people, or for me to stay out of the way and to have the courage to do God's will. But if you guys could keep me and our family in our prayers, I don't know what's going to happen with my job, and I'm scared. But I'm as I said, I got a second job. But the health insurance and all that stuff. So,
it's no joke leaving a narcissist. I mean, Joe and I are not living charmed lives.
No,
I guess, is what we're trying to say.
As I said before, it's not peaches and cream, but it's a hell of a lot better than it used to be.
Yeah.
And my worst day, being separated from the narcissist in a way, is better than any best day that I had with the narcissist.
Joe and I have a good life, but there's still stresses that we're dealing with.
Yeah, man, plumbing issues,
yeah.
freaking just crap going on at the house. I ain't got enough money to pay for my damn attorney bills. Yours too,
Yeah, exactly.
But we're doing it,
but
man.
and it's good. I can tell you.
We're on our way.
Yeah, and I do feel happy. It's just that there's stress attached to us as well. So, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and end the midweek Joe and Sharon show.
You guys have a good Thursday too, and we'll see. We'll touch base again. Sharon will do Friday, and then we'll be talking with each other.
You'll be back for us Monday.
Yes.
All right. I will. Well, actually, I was going to say I'll see you then. I'm seeing you now, but they'll see you then. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.